How I rescued a prison guard at Walla Walla. The summer of, 2013. I was the prison shuttle van driver outside of Washington State Penitentiary. And you had the camp, which was like people with 3 or 4 years and less, and then you had closed custody, where you had people doing 20, 30, 40 to life, and then you had the death row units, and I worked in death row units as well. But that summer, I was the shuttle van driver, which was like a privileged position, and to tell you the truth, it was really a blessing how I got that job. It was a trip because I was working in the death row tank as the laundry porter. And so me and another inmate, we don't like the term inmate. We didn't like the term inmate behind bars, but we were, our duties was to wash the death row prisoner jumpsuits, which was the old school black and white striped jumpsuits. All the death row prisoners, they wear the black and white stripes, you know. Those are men who are condemned to die. It was not a good vibe or a good energy working in that place. But me and another guy, Mike, Italian white dude, he was a little older than me, but we ended up being pretty cool. I hope he's doing all right to this date. He was there before I was, but we got to get a lot of the snacks. So that was like one of the privileges. You got to eat more, which was contributory, which contributed to my workout. So yeah, it's 4th of July and it's going on. It's SJS. I'm out here maintaining, and we'll see how the night goes. But yeah, so I was doing the floors. I was buffing the floors as well as doing the death row prisoner laundry. And right when you walk into the death row unit where the officers would come in, I had to buff that hallway right in the entryway. And the high-speed buffer, actually it was the low-speed buffer. The low-speed buffer, which is harder to handle, the floor buffer, it got away from me, right? And so it ended up chipping up the wood floor. It was a wood overlay on a concrete floor. And so it chipped the wood so bad that you could see the concrete, a big old mark on the floor. And so all the officers could see it when they walked in. And when my supervisor, one of the COs, when he found out about it, he was pissed off, but I hated that job, right? So I didn't care. So he fired me. And I was like, thank God I got fired from out of there, So they ended up trying to send me back to the kitchen, and I was like, I think I didn't show up. I was like, I don't know, I was tired of working in the dang kitchen. I had been out there for like 3 years. And so the shuttle driver position came open, and somebody, I think I applied for it, sent a kite for it or something, and they gave it to me. And it was a trip because, look, in Walla Walla, if you don't know about Eastern Washington, it gets hot in the summer, so it's 100-degree weather. And so what I would be doing, I'd be posted outside in the parking lot where the officers get out to go home. So I'm out there either in a van if it's raining or in a golf cart if it's hot. I'm out there and there's no shade around, so I'm just in the parking lot in the heat, just sitting there. But at least I was outside of the prison, right? So I felt it was a cool deal, And when I had the van, I had the keys to the van, and because my driver's license hadn't expired yet, actually. The person in that position, a prisoner in that position, could actually take that van and drive off the prison and could drive away from the prison if he wanted to. You know what I'm saying? So I'm standing there looking at, I'm looking at a precarious freedom. I could have took off at any moment, but I got Well, it was 2013, going on 14. I only had like a year left to do. So, you know, everybody there is short, so most people don't do that. You know, most people don't try to escape. But anyways, I'm in the golf cart one day, and another thing, at 10 o'clock, the whole prison locked down at 10 o'clock at the prison camp where I was at. After they do count at 10 o'clock, I, as the van driver, got to come out of the cell. Everybody else was locked down, the whole joint. I'm the only prisoner that gets to come back out of his cell and go outside and do like a late shift to like midnight. And what I was doing, I was ferrying the officers from the camp part to the closed custody complex, or back and forth, or vice versa. Or there would be visitors, religious visitors that would come in, and I would transport them, either driving the van or driving the golf cart. You know, it's a small comfort, because, you know, prison is not a cool place. You know, I was discomfortable. I was uncomfortable the whole time. You know, I was hating it the whole time. But the Lord saw fit, you know, to make my time easier in certain ways, and that was actually one of the best jobs in the prison. And I noticed that there was a few times throughout my 9 years of incarceration, there was a few times where I actually had the best job in the prison. And it was like Joseph. It was like Joseph being locked up in Egypt, you know, where he was shown favor even though he was a prisoner. He was a prisoner of war, or a captive, you know, in a foreign place, in a foreign land. And so one day, I get a call. I can't remember if I had a little radio, or if actually one of the supervisors, one of the COs, just pulled me to the side. They said that an officer needed to be picked up from the parking lot, and he was just in trouble. And so I'm in the golf cart, and I go to the parking lot. I go down to the parking lot. This is the North Campus of Walla Walla at Washington State Penitentiary. You know, they call it Walla Walla. And I see an officer. He's like hiding behind a shed. And so I goes and I picks him up. He's like, hey. He called my last name, and you know, I came to him, and he got in the golf cart, and he was like, man, thanks. You know, he was happy to see me, right? And come to find out, he told me there's an osprey nest, you know, which is actually what the Seahawks are. It's a bird of prey. It's a pretty big bird, but I guess they had a nest. It was like mating season or whatever, and he said 2 ospreys was up above, had a nest in the lamppost, and they kept swooping down on him, so he couldn't get to his car, and so he was glad to see me. So basically, I rescued a CO, and that was you know, that was something that I would have never thought would happen, because I was the type of prisoner who did my time and stayed to myself, and I didn't want nothing from the officers. I didn't want to deal with the officers. I definitely wasn't kissing their behinds. You know, I wasn't their go-to inmate. You know, but somehow the Lord, you know, had favor on me, and He made a way for me to get favor, because, you know, He says He'll set a table for you in the presence of your enemies. But I've had kindness showed to me in unexpected places, and that's just another thing. I just remembered that today. I forgot all about that experience, but yeah, that was a day. I believe it was a summer day in 2013. I had got my AA degree that summer in June, and I remember that year because it was the year the Seahawks won the Super Bowl. But yeah, actually, that was the day that I rescued a prison guard. So that's how I rescued a correctional officer, and it just happened like that. All praise be to Jah.